I have far too much nervous, excited energy. Want to be having a coffee, but anyway, hello one and all. Welcome back to Seen Through Glass. 18 months ago, I bought my dream car, a Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale. Some of you might remember, I bought it blind via an online auction. So the first time I saw it, I'd already paid for it. A little bit too late if there were any major issues. There weren't any major issues, but I took the car down to AV Engineering, the legends that had looked after my 360 Moderna for the 5 or 6 years prior, and they did spot some corrosion around the car. Now that is not unusual for Ferraris, but especially for Ferraris from the early 2000s. This era, you know, they do just suffer with corrosion, and it's something you want to tackle before it gets out of hand. So I brought my car down here to Hilton and Moss, who amongst other things are world-class classic car restorers. They worked out by the time they tackled the corrosion, they'd probably be respraying like 60, maybe even 70% of the car. So they said, well, you know, would you ever consider respraying 100% of the car? It could either breathe some fresh life into it, now it's in your ownership, or even give you the opportunity to change the colour. Now you might be thinking, hold on a sec, Sam, surely changing the colour of Challenge Stradale is detrimental to its future value. Aren't these collector grade Ferraris? Yes, you're probably right, but let me reiterate, this is one of my all-time dream cars. I have no plans to sell it unless I'm forced to do so, and therefore I'm not really thinking about future value, but I have dreamed of owning one of these cars my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but for a long time. And in that time, I always thought how amazing it must have been back in 2004, 2005, to have specced up your own Stradale, what colour to do it in, what interior to choose, things like that. And suddenly, I basically had that opportunity in front of me. So I thought, heck, I've got to dive in with 2 feet. So yes, right here, right now, I'm about to pull the covers off my dream version of my dream car. If I was a better YouTuber, I'd drag this moment out, talk to you about the stock that's here and my thought behind the colour. I just don't have that kind of patience. As I say, too much nervous excitement. So join me checking out my dream car. This is, yeah, this is quite mad actually. This is quite mad. I literally have dreamed of this specification like this. It's got me in the feels a little bit. I've got to stand back and take it all in. Yeah, it's spectacular. It's spec. When I bought this thing 18 months ago, don't get me wrong, it definitely landed that I had finally gone and bought my dream car, one of my dream cars. But because it was not necessarily in the spec that I'd always driven, there was something that just didn't do that final piece of the puzzle. But now, oh God. The interior is sensational, if I say so myself. Right. We need to talk through this all because there's a lot to explain. Let's kickstart then with the colour. So this is Rosso Mugello. It's a non-metallic sort of historic colour from Ferrari. But interestingly, even Ferrari couldn't tell me exactly when this kind of colour became available. And I think it sort of came around the 599 GTO, the 430, so a little bit after the Stradale. But confusingly, there is one other 360 Challenge Stradale painted in Rosso Mugello. It lives in Germany. My friend, a great photographer, Stefan Bauer, sent me a photo of it when we were debating colours. We just don't know if that car was painted Rosso Mugello from factory or after the fact. Am I getting too nerdy on the Rossos? It has different shades, but it is very flat. That means it can be a killer to maintain. So the entire car has been protected by the absolute legends at EDP, Elite Detailing. If you want to know a little inside story, my first ever brand deal as Seen Through Glass was with Elite Detailing, with Gertsch. He gave me free car washes in return for some Instagram posts, which I was more than happy to oblige. Back when I had a TTS and like 5,000 subscribers, so shout out Gertsch. But I actually believe he is still the whisperer of PPF and paint work, it was where I really wanted to send this car, and he has done a spectacular job, but I needed him because otherwise this paintwork would swirl up and mark and chip very, very easily, and that would be a disaster. So full protection on this thing. We have actually left some little tiny elements of patina or patina because the car, I didn't want it to be like nut and bolt restoration. I wanted it to still carry some markers of its age. So for example, carbon wing mirrors, they do have some stone chips and things like that. You could potentially take the lacquer off and re-lacquer them. Slightly sketchy process because obviously it's carbon fiber. You can't PPF them like this because it obviously doesn't cover up the stone chip. Anyway, left them. I was like, it's fine, they get beaten up. All the corrosion, which was all in here, completely gone, completely worked on. I mean, apparently you can never completely get rid of corrosion, but they've done a pretty damn good job. It's definitely not there at the moment. Let's hope it doesn't come back. We had a lot of corrosion on the underside of the bonnet. That's all gone. I guess the big thing which I forgot to mention is the lack of stripe, because this was a big talking point back in January when I came to see this car before it got painted. I have removed the stripe. I have never been that fussed about stripes on Ferraris, whether it's the Stradale, the Scuderia, the Pista, the Speciale, whatever. I always knew I didn't want a stripe. Tell you what, Ben, you come in this side, I'm going to go around the other side because the interior, well, there's a lot to discuss. I have to say an absolutely huge shout out to the legends at D-Class Automotive who did all the retrimming in here. I've used them for years. They did the steering wheel of my 360 Modena, the parcel shelf for my Carrera T that I used during Drive the World, the Pasha seats in my GT3. That's how it's Pasha seats, there we go. And they've done all of this, and they have just, I think this is the best work they've done on any of my cars. It's brand new in here. It's all about celebrating heritage and history with this car. You know I love Ferrari and I love the history of Ferrari, and back in the day, a lot of competition Ferraris, 250 LMs, things like that, would be red on the exterior with a blue interior, and that's what I wanted to sort of, nod my head towards, because this is a road-going race car. Challenge Stradale, the Stradale version of the Challenge. So it made sense to me to have this kind of, combo, I suppose. But this is a slightly less vibrant and saturated blue that a lot of people are using in the F40s or some of the other modern day 812 Competizioni and things like that. But I've kept it with this two-tone design because I wanted the car to look and feel like it could have driven out of the factory gate in 2005. I didn't want to completely change things, so I've kept that kind of design of the two-tone, the split dash. We have added a little center sort of line there on the steering wheel and changed that slightly, but otherwise it's all as you could have specified from factory. So I'm so pleased and happy, and I cannot wait to spend time in here. Final couple of mentions. Stickyworx obviously did all these buttons that I went to collect, well, God, way back at the start of the year, but these are all refreshed now. I've got an actual reverse button, all the switches and stuff like that, basically feeling brand new, which is so essential. And eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed the Blaupunkt head unit. When I bought this car, it came with a perfectly good but slightly dated head unit here, which I couldn't connect to Bluetooth. The plug-in for the iPod wasn't working, stuff like that, so I wanted to update it, and this was heavily recommended to me. And we had some issues with the speakers, which I've now upgraded to. So, sound-wise, I should have some improvements in here for my long road trips, of which there could be many, and many very soon. This is such a mad moment. This is I just at some point need to go and sit down and stare at this thing. We've got things to do, so let's crack on. I'm sure lots of you remember the main man Will.
They may not remember me.
No, they may not. It was so long ago. Back in 2016, when I dropped the car off, you rightfully told me it will be worth waiting for, and you, mate, not wrong.
Sometimes it's not the fastest, but it is the quality, and I hope you're pleased, and I hope it comes across on camera as well. The finish.
You wanted it? Didn't you want it yellow or blue?
I wanted it blue, but I do admit I was wrong.
Yeah.
But the interior pulls it together.
Yeah, okay.
The interior, definitely, that heritage feel is mega. This has been stripped and restored along with the car.
Shut up.
The guy said, what we'll do is actually Ashley's idea. He said, let's match a car to your car. And I said, oh, great idea. Let's do that quick. I'm going to send you the photos. It was a full restoration. We had the glass out.
A full Hot Wheels. Dude, that is so cool.
We couldn't match the interior, but we could match the body colour.
This is actually great.
Really cool. So
look at that.
So we went for the new colour behind, because
oh, dude, that's actually amazing.
And then it's got the pieces of the original vinyl stripe, which are still lacquered, but the lacquer cracked, as you can see. But it's kind of made a bit of almost modern art. Shows you what it could look like with a stripe. And
don't start.
Really gets the viewers angry.
No, get the stripe. Mate, these were unnecessary
Well,
touches.
it's a
but
little something.
No,
It's a
no,
little
more than a
something.
little something. Very thoughtful
And
and
it seems
very
a shame
special.
to put the stripe in the bin as well. So
Yeah, it's a cool thing to hold on to, right?
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy it. And
Oh, well,
get some miles on and
yeah, I'm quite keen to drive it now.
you need to. Get it
I've
on the
been
road.
missing it,
Yeah,
so
you'll have fun.
thank you again.
No worries.
I am
Thanks for trusting
honestly,
us.
no, I'm grateful, and I'll be back, I'm sure, because you've seen the stuff that's going on down here. But for now, yes, I want to drive that thing. So
No worries.
goodbye.
Cheers.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Let me take my gifts.
Yeah.
I have missed this car. I have missed this car way too much. And now in this specification, look at the blue in the sunshine, people. Oh my God, it's just, wow. I thought there was really only one way to reunite with this thing, by taking it on a road trip. It's going to be a slightly cliched seen through glass road trip. We're off to Monaco. Well, actually, no. We're off to Maranello. We're going to the Ferrari factory, Ferrari themselves, and invited me down to check out a new model. I thought, perfect excuse to take my freshly repainted, retrimmed car back to Ferrari HQ. But yeah, I'm going to be going via Monaco. I'm going to try and make my way back through the Swiss Alps. It'll probably be nearly 2,000 miles, and I absolutely cannot wait. But before we set off on that trip, because this car's been sitting around for so long, of course, I have to first take it to AV Engineering for Aldous to have a little bit of a look over it. It is actually due a service as well, but I just want to make sure that everything is tickety-boo, and I want to get his opinions on the paintwork. So yes, I'll head to AV Engineering, a nice sunset drive, and then I guess I'll see you in a couple of days when I go and collect the car from Aldous. Now, as you can imagine, keeping track of this whole restoration, the various suppliers, the timelines, the costs, it's been quite stressful, especially when there's so much else going on here at STG HQ. I know faffing around with Ferraris, planning road trips might look like fun, but this is actually a full-on business. And there's always lots to manage. Sponsors, content planning, invoicing, accounting. It can get quite overwhelming. That's why I've partnered with Odoo, today's sponsor. Odoo is an all-in-one business management platform that brings everything to one place. Instead of juggling multiple disconnected apps for sales, accounting, inventory, project management, they're all fully integrated and working seamlessly together. That means less chance for mistakes, real-time updates across everything, and way more visibility into how things are performing. Odoo is even based on your country, allowing you to comply with local requirements. It's also super intuitive, and as your business grows, Odoo grows with you. You simply add more applications as you need. The best part is you can get started for free. Your first app is free for life with unlimited hosting and support. Full access starts from just 1990 euros per month. Huge thanks to Odoo for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the Challenge Stradale. What do you think of the colour?
I love it.
Do you actually, are you just saying
I do. We're actually in the middle of a project with a similar colour scheme, and when I first heard about it, I was like, not sure if that's going to work, especially with the blue. But in the flesh, it just gels so nicely, and I love the fact that you've gone for the proper historic colour rather than the later metallics that emulate this shade. It is just. Yeah, beautiful.
Best Ferrari Specialist Award for 2025, and that's the third year in a row, right?
It is, yes. We are very honoured to have been voted, best in the UK.
Well,
so.
yeah, best in the UK. And you also have an eagle eye. People may have noticed some paperwork on the windscreen. That's the snagging list for Hilton and Moss. As ever, when these cars go back together, there are things that sometimes need to be refined or redone. And no one knows these cars as well as mainly that man there, but obviously AV Engineering in general. So he's just spotted a few things that need to be either tightened up or repositioned. So we've got a nice list, and that will all be done when I bring the car back from Europe. But talk me through the mechanicals. So servicing, I guess that was all pretty straightforward and easy, right? It was just a normal
Yeah, I mean,
service.
just an annual service. So oil filter, brake fluid, and pollen filter. Thorough check over. We need to keep an eye on the tie rod end on this side here. That's got a tiny bit of play in it, but nothing to warrant actually changing at the moment. But sort of mechanically, it's there, which is what we'd expect, because it's just been sat around for
it's not really
a
done.
long
So
time.
let's see what it's like after the next 1,500 miles.
Well, yeah, but then after the road trip, post-road trip, it will probably need some bits and pieces as they do. The important thing was to make sure that it was ready to go on the trip, and fingers crossed, get you back there and back.
That's the hope. We did do one thing though, which is right at the back.
So this has been a multi-stage kind of thing. So the exhaust was fitted really badly. And it was actually rubbing up against the chassis. And the last time we had it here, we actually repaired the chassis and fitted new valves in the exhaust, because these were rattling really badly. But there was still a persistent rattle, which was coming from inside the silencer. Now, these CS silencers are incredibly difficult to get hold of, but we've managed to get a brand new one. So we've got a brand new silencer. New heat shields, because the old heat shields were cracked. They were vibrating and making a horrible noise. Obviously, it's been fitted up properly, so this should see another 20 years of service.
Yeah, not cheap, that part, but definitely that's a proper investment. I mean, the sound is almost everything when it comes to the CS.
If the list on them is a couple of thousand plus VAT. You've got another 500 quid or so on the heat shields, if you can get them. Yeah. So yeah, happy that we got it, and happy we were able to get it on the car, because it's absolutely deserving of it.
Did you notice, by the way, as well, Hilton and Moss finally figured this out? Because remember, my old one was all drooping around. You might not like that, because it's probably not that sort of factory finish, but I hated the fact that my one was all drooping, so they managed to sort of cut up a new one, so it looks a little bit
it's
neater.
nice, and they've stitched in the edge and that, and riveted it in the OEM mounting points. So nice little neat solution. But you can't buy these anymore.
Exactly,
so
well, that's what you told me.
They're
so
unobtainable.
I thought I was screwed, but actually it's a nice solution.
It is a very nice solution.
Yeah,
yes.
Good on them. Yeah. Anyway, mate, as always, thank you for the work. Thank you for the appraisal. I'm sure Hilton and Moss won't say thank you for the snagging list, but I will. And I guess we'll see you again in a few months, maybe to see that project that you were teasing.
Yes, yeah,
and to
definitely.
see how the car's been getting on.
Get the two together, because it's a 360
cool.
in a similar colour scheme. So we should definitely get the two out on the road together.
Very intriguing. Well, as ever, you are busy with lots of other things, so I'll get out of your hair, and I will see you very, very soon. Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
Contradiction with my mind. Guilty pleasure has a bitter taste. In the end, my friend, are you sure you wanna fight? Ooh, has got that time, not me.
Well, we are truly back at it with the Challenge Stradale, people. I am making up for lost time with that car. I literally left AV Engineering, headed straight to the Eurotunnel, and now you find me in France. This place, by the way, worth noting down if you're planning a long road trip south of France, Spain, Italy, the Alps, whatever, and you can get away the night before and you're looking for somewhere to stay near Calais. This is worth checking out. It's called Chateau de Beaulieu. It's officially a 5-star hotel. It's got multiple restaurants, a pool and things like that, but it cost me only £154. So yeah, worth checking out. Straight off the motorway, really easy to find, loads of good parking, seemingly readily available even in peak season, and it means that tomorrow morning I can get up and just crack on. I haven't got to bother with going under the tunnel and all that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what I'll be doing. So next week you'll join me for my adventure south, and then across to Italy, and then back up through Switzerland. It will all kick off. But I'm so pleased to not only have that car back, but to have it now looking the way it looks in this sunshine. I mean, I cannot wait to see what it looks like in the sunshine in the south of France. It is just gonna pop. But I mean, you can tell by the smile on my face, I basically can't wait to wake up, get back out in the car tomorrow. So yes, hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you have. Stay subscribed, because plenty of adventures in the Stradale still to come.